The 95% crowd thinks that personal growth is adding one more inch to your waistline. The 5% crowd knows that personal growth is how you invest in yourself. Hello again, everybody. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. I'd like you to join Eli and me today as we discuss the why and because of personal growth, some how-tos, and sort of a checklist to see if you're on the right track from some folks, some quotes for some folks that are certainly in the 5% group. First thing I want to do is let's clarify a little bit about what personal growth is. These are some of the things, some examples of the things you should be thinking about as far as personal growth is concerned. Not all of them, but some of them apply to each of us, okay? First of all, learning to control your anger. Learning to overcome procrastination. I'm sure that's a big one. Learning to overcome laziness. Another big one. Learning to be more polite and considerate. Becoming a more responsible person. Learning new things and developing new skills. And changing your mindset and having a positive mental attitude. You know, personal growth requires motivation, the desire to improve, and the willingness to strive to make some changes. You also need to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and sometimes do things that are uncomfortable but are for your own good. First quote I want to go over with you is from Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn tells us, income seldom exceeds personal development, personal growth. You know, if you maintain your personal status quo as far as what you know, why should anybody pay you more money? If you want to earn more money, then you need to have more knowledge, more skills, be able to contribute more. If not, why is it that if I'm the owner of the business, why should I give you more money? You're doing the same thing. We've determined that your worth is this much for doing that much. Very simple. If you want to earn more, then you have to have something more to offer. Number 2 is from Norman Mailer. Every moment of one's existence, one is growing into more or retreating into less. You know, when I saw this particular quote, it had a certain impact to me. I'll tell you why. You know, when you see kids, when you see teenagers, when you see people in their 20s and in their 30s, they're excited, they're looking forward, they're saying to themselves, there are things I can do. Not all of them, all right, but most of the people that I work with in that group, you know, people that want to be 5%ers, there's an excitement there. You know, I remember when I was that age, yes, Eli, I took my Alzheimer's medication, so I can't remember that far back, and I remember how excited I was when I started working with Mr. Mutnick, who taught me sales and taught me stuff about life. Was my first mentor, outside of my dad, of course. I remember when I first got my first coaching job, when I was working with a varsity coach, and he taught me stuff. I mean, I had played, you know, college basketball, and I knew a lot of basketball, but wow, I was excited. Look at all the things I'm learning. Look at all the new things that's a great attitude to have. And then you contrast that with people that are, I'm sorry to say, my age right now, people that are in the latter stages of life, and what they are is they're satisfied, and all I want is to maintain the status quo, and so on, and I can't do that. I'm that same age. I want to continue to learn more. Why? Because it adds excitement to your life. You know, there's a difference between moving forward and just merely existing. And if all you're doing is maintaining the status quo and you're not moving forward, you're not here to exist. You're here to contribute. And I'm sorry to say that a lot of people assume that attitude, the get off of my lawn attitude, once their formal education is completed. No, I can't learn anymore. I've learned everything I can learn. I graduated from high school or I graduated from college. There's nothing more for me to... Stop with that attitude. Continue to feed your head. Continue to make progress. You cannot dream yourself into a character you must hammer and forge yourself one. That's Henry David Thoreau. You know what? Things don't happen by accident. So if you want to improve, if you're a sculptor and you get the big block of clay or granite or whatever it is that you're making your sculpture with, you got to chisel away at it. You got to knock away the different things. You've got to fine tune it. You have to pay attention to detail. Isn't life exactly like that? If you just leave the block of clay there, the block of granite there, you know what you're going to have? Block of clay or a block of granite. Nothing's going to change. But if you want to fine tune it and make it a work of art, and don't you want to make yourself a work of art, you've got to continue to hammer and forge yourself into something special. Life is growth. If we stop growing, technically and spiritually, we're as good as dead. Aren't there some people that when you talk with them, everything is about, oh, well, I remember in my day, I remember 10 years ago, you know, and I'm like that to some degree, but hopefully I'm in a positive way, pointing out principles. But the point is, some people you just don't want to be in contact with because their whole life has already been lived. And now what they're doing is they're just waking up and going from, they have breakfast, they have lunch, they have dinner, they're watching TV, time to go to sleep. Same thing. Is that life? That's not life. You know, you have to be technically, you know, and it's difficult for me to embrace technology. I'm trying, Eli, I'm trying to learn this stuff on the computer. I'm working at it. And also spiritually, what's in here? What's, you know, what are your thoughts? I mean, in these last 7 or 8 years, I've learned so much about personal growth and personal development, things that I knew, and then I put them together with all the books that I read. I mean, when I started working at the library, I read the whole section. Now I know everything, or at least I think I do, but I really don't. But I'm still continuously learning. I'm still continuously watching some of the pundits when they have guests on that specialize in this and specialize in that. And what they do is they put a different slant on things, a different angle on things. And when they do things, when they do stuff like that, all of a sudden, click, something makes sense to you that didn't make sense in the past. So you must continue to grow. Otherwise, is that life or is that existing? Personal development is a major time saver. The better you become, the less time it takes you to achieve your goals. How true is that? You know, the first thing to talk about as far as personal development is concerned with this particular quote, which is from Brian Tracy, by the way, is how do you set goals? You know, people are always saying to you, make sure you set your goals, make sure you write them down. You know, the class at Yale, you know, the 3% of the people that wrote down their goals produced more than the 97%. And you've heard all the stories. All right, but nobody sits down with you, or very few people sit down with you and go over exactly, Eli, here's the how-to. Here's how you set goals. This is the way it's done. I've done that for you. With the help of Jeff Olson, from a book that I read called The Slight Edge. And this was one of my first videos that I made for you, Eli, was how to set goals. I strongly recommend that you go back and you look at it and you review it. You know, this is a time of year when people are setting goals, the beginning of the year. It shouldn't be, but it is. All right, they pay attention to the calendar. You should be doing that all year long. However, if you don't know exactly how to do it, here's the how-to, and this method will work for you. So go back, look at, it's one of the very first videos I produced on goal setting. It's a step-by-step blueprint on how to set goals, and it will help you understand why it works, how to do it, and it will save you just tons of time, and you'll start to get much, much better results. The only person you're destined to become is the person that you decide to be. You know, if you want to get to a finish line, you have to know where the finish line is. You don't necessarily see the finish line, but you know that there's a finish line out there. And if you want to become a certain person, you have to visualize that person. It boggles my mind. There's a guy that I used to work with that just was lazy and tried to do the least amount of work, and would just do enough to get by and so on. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you live with yourself like that? Is that the person that you want to be? Who's the person that you want to be? When you look in the mirror, do you say to yourself, that's the guy I want to be? Or do you say to yourself, you know what? I need to change the visualization. I need to make some changes in my life. I need to make some changes in my habits so that when I look in the mirror, I can say, mirror, mirror on the wall, that's the person I want to be all the time, all right? So make sure that when you look into that mirror and you use that phrase, that you're seeing the person that you want to become, because whether you know it or not, the person that you are is right now the person that you want to become. And if you're not happy with that, it's time to make some changes. Man's life is independent. He's not born for the development of the society alone, but for the development of his self. That's from B.R. Ambedkar. Easy for me to say. In life, two things you want to be thinking about. And some people put them in different order. My first thought, I was always the point guard, the passer, the guy that got the other guys in position. As a manager, I was always the teacher, the trainer, the motivator. So, those are the things that I like. I measure my progress by the progress that others, people that I'm working with, have made. But at the same time, you also have to develop yourself, because as you develop yourself and challenge yourself to reach new and better heights, when your personal development increases, when it improves, you're going to find that the things around you are going to improve, that you're going to have more charisma. People are going to say, this guy really knows, or this lady really knows, or this is a person I want to follow. That's one of the things it's very, very important. So you want to not only focus on yourself, but society, and not only society, but yourself. The two go hand in hand. Change equals self-improvement. Push yourself to places you haven't been before. And that's a quote from Pat Summitt, the late great basketball coach at the University of Tennessee. I believe she has the most wins in NCAA history, at least as a women's coach. She might even have it as of all times. A tremendous coach, a tremendous motivator. Her teams won game after game after game after game. Before the University of Connecticut became, the bar, the University of Tennessee was, and Pat Summitt was the coach, and she could take players, and that's what a mentor does, is you get people to stretch, and you get them to stretch just a little bit beyond their reach. And then once they do that, if it's like way too far, I'm not going to take, Eli's basketball team and win the NCAA tournament. That's a little bit more than just a little bit of a stretch. But when you stretch people just a little bit beyond their reach, they can still envision reaching that goal. You as an individual, stretch yourself just a little bit beyond your reach, and that puts you in the zone. Once you start doing that, you start feeling like, I can do this, and you feel inside that you have that special ability to get the job done. And you become sort of unconscious. It's like when you sometimes even somebody like me that was a miserable shooter, I would get in the zone and everything I shot was going in, and I knew it was going down. So make your stretch a little bit longer than you reach, a little bit out of your comfort zone, and that will help put you in the zone. Change equals, well, we just talked about that one. All right, let's talk about the next one. The next one is, there is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. One of the things that people do is they look and they, oh, well, I'm better than Joey, or I'm better than Sally, or Mary can't do what I can do. Okay, Everybody has their signature strengths and their signature weaknesses, and I'm sure there's something that Joe or Mary or Sally can do that better than what you can do. So you don't want to use that kind of a yardstick. You know, take a look at people that are the great achievers. Okay, Michael Jordan is somebody that comes to mind. When you look at Michael Jordan, yeah, he's got some great skills, he's got some great abilities, but what did he do? He didn't compare himself to the other people that were out there. What he did is he looked at his own performance and said, I can do better. How can I improve? What can I do to do better? What step can I make? And he practiced and practiced and practiced. There are tons and tons, Eli, of basketball players, people that I knew when I was in high school. We had a kid that as a freshman was just unbelievable. This guy was 6'1", 230, and he had moves like nobody's business. Any ball that went up off the backboard, he was for 6'1". This guy was a horse, all right? And he would touch. And as a freshman, they put him on the varsity so that they could make the tournament, and he was instrumental in them making the tournament. But he had no discipline. He didn't go to class. He fooled around. He broke all the rules. And if you don't have that self-discipline, that kills it. So you've got to take your skills and you've got to enhance them and you've got to focus on them and not just say, oh, I've got this, I can do that, and be superior to somebody else. You have to say what you're good at and compare, you know, where was I last year? Now, when you look at your basketball skills now versus where you were last year, when I look at them, I say, oh my goodness, you have improved so much. That's a great thing. Compare yourself, compare your skills to what you did a year ago. Growth is the great separator between those who succeed and those who do not. When I see a person beginning to separate themselves from the pack, it's almost always due to personal growth. And that's from John Maxwell. He's one of my favorite authors. He writes 21 ways to do this and 50 ways to do that, and so on. He is a brilliant author. And if you haven't read some books by John C. Maxwell, I strongly urge you, go to the library and find some books from John C. Maxwell. He is a tremendous talented author. And one of the best sources for me on personal development. And one of the things that, you know, once again, when you improve, when you see yourself improving, not only have you made progress, but it gives you the impetus to do more and more and more and more, and you don't get satisfied. People that don't continually try to improve have to satisfy their mindset. And how do they satisfy their mindset? They say, oh, that's good enough. That's okay, that's good enough. That's all I have to do. I don't have to do any more. Well, guess what? Those are the people that are in the 95% crowd. The people in the 5% crowd say, boy, I've made some progress. I'm inspired to do more. You know, I remember, and this is a natural feeling to have. I remember, Eli, at one of the first times when you were just a little puppy, I mean, playing t-ball. You made like the winning hit. You made a nice play in the field. And then after the game was over, you said, Dad, come on, let's play more, let's play more, let's play more. You know, and there have been other times I said, come on, Eli, you want to throw the ball around? No, I don't want to do that. But after you have some success, after you make progress, you're hungry to do more. So get yourself with that kind of a momentum. Get yourself moving forward, and that will increase your appetite to do even more. Personal development is the belief that you're worth the effort, time, and energy needed to develop yourself. And that's from Dennis Waitley. You know, you have to have some self-esteem. You have to have some confidence. And the way you get that is by taking a little step and making progress, taking a little step and making progress, taking another little step and making progress, and you say to yourself, you know what? I can do that, and I can do much more. Once again, one of the ways that you want to give yourself that little self-esteem is get out of your comfort zone by exceeding your reach by that much, by a small amount. Try different things. Practice getting out of your comfort zone. As we've said before, if you want to be a good thinker, spend time thinking. If you want to be a good shooter, spend time shooting. If you want to be a good hitter in baseball, pick up a bat and hit. If you want to be good at getting out of your comfort zone, do some little things that put you out of your comfort zone. Brush your teeth with your offhand. Comb your hair with your offhand. Do some different things that you're not used to doing. When you see people, give them a different response when they say, "How are you?" Say, "I'm better than good." And you watch them pause and you'll see the reaction is different. As Bob Anderson, when he used to call me on the phone all the time, would say, "So, what's happening good?" That's a good way to start a conversation. You get the person, you catch them a little off guard, you're out of your comfort zone, instead of saying, "Fine, and you, how are you?" All right, that's the way. Be somebody that makes a difference. Be somebody that you can draw attention to yourself in a positive way, where you're complimenting the other person, make the other person feel good. Do some things to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, and then when you need to get out of your comfort zone a little bit more, it's easier to do. Be patient with yourself. Self-growth is tender. It's holy ground. There's no greater investment. One of the top authors today is a gentleman named Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey has written several books, one of the best bestsellers of all times, and he gives you little clues on how to make improvements, with your personal development. But you got to be patient with yourself about it. Rome isn't built in a day. Chunk down. You want to have a big dream, but you want to have small, chunk down goals to help you achieve that big dream. And once again, you don't have to have the entire game plan written out. If you watch a football game, a coach named Bill Walsh revolutionized the game many years ago. He used to script the first 15 plays of what he wanted the quarterback to do when they got the ball, and now virtually all the coaches in the NFL do that. But they only do the first few plays. They don't do the whole game. Why? Because the finish line is winning the game, and sometimes you have to employ a different strategy. But you need to have something that gets you started, that gives you momentum. Big Mo. So, have some patience with yourself. Chunk down your goals into smaller pieces. Make some progress. Have some patience with yourself. Understand you're going to have to make adjustments. When you get to that stoplight and the light is red, you're going to have to stop. When it's yellow, of course, you go through it, right, Eli? Best you not. You haven't got your license yet, but best you not. All right? Here's my point. You've got to have some patience with yourself, achieving goals. The gestation period is typically an unknown, so make sure that you're making progress each and every day, but be patiently impatient. One can choose to go back towards safety or forward toward growth. Growth must be chosen again and again. Fear must be overcome again and again. The people that make it happen try new things, and they're not afraid to fail. In fact, they know they're going to fail, and they say, "Okay, I've done that. I got to try something else." And you know what else is important? Let's talk a little, overcoming fear is another way of saying courage. Another way of having courage is saying, "I'm coming back tomorrow, and I'm going to get the job done. Today wasn't as successful as I hoped, but I still have my vision, I still have my dream, I'm going to chunk it down, and I'm going to come back tomorrow." Or as Arnold used to say, "I'll be back." So make sure that you're back every day when you have that vision, when you have that magnificent obsession that's driving you inside, and you come back the next day. When you have that magnificent obsession, it's easier to do that. So make sure that you have that. That will help you overcome fear, and make sure that you take a small step. When people go to these seminars And I love the seminars. The people on the stage have tremendous energy. The people in the audience are there, they have energy too. Or when you go to a big meeting at a business, when they're preaching, we're going to make this change, we're going to make that change, you've got to do a small step. So if you go to a seminar, you've got to take something that they taught you at the seminar and make a change right now on the way home. On the way home from the seminar, or while you're still at the seminar. You've got to make a change right now. If you're in a business meeting, if you're one of the leaders in a business meeting and you're calling for change, the next day there has to be a change made. You have to do something. You have to overcome that fear. And you have to do it, if you want to be in the 5% group, you have to do it over and over and over and over. Remember, Walt Disney declared bankruptcy 7 different times. 7 times. He still believed in his idea. He made it happen. So overcome those fears. Get to the starting line. Don't worry about a failure. Try again. Courage is coming back again the next day. Investing in yourself is the best investment that you'll ever make. It will not only improve your life, it will improve the lives of all of those around you. Now, this is true in all sorts of respects. By the way, this is Robin Sharma that said that. But this is especially true as a leader. If you're a leader and you're improving yourself, one of the things that your constituency sees, your mentees see, is they say, my goodness, this guy is learning something more and he's teaching us something more. And I thought, like, is there ever going to be any kind of an end to what this guy knows or what this lady knows? Wow. And that builds up your credibility. And I'll tell you something. Excuse me. Bob Anderson, my #1 mentor. I'm telling you, he didn't graduate from college. He didn't go to college. He called himself a Rhodes Scholar, and he spelled Road R-O-A-D. All the stuff that he had learned by his things that he could, places he could go, people he could learn from, experiences he had, and he never stopped learning. And it was amazing to me how virtually every time I spoke to him, he had something new to teach, something new to say, some new philosophy, some new thought that made you go, all right, that you thought about. And those are the people that draw you to them. Those are the people that have charisma. Knowledge is charisma also. You know, I'll give you an example. You know, when I look at Bill Gates and I see him in interviews, he's not the most exciting person that I've ever heard interviewed, but he's got knowledge. And so what you want to do is you want to become a vacuum cleaner and just want to suck in his knowledge and what he knows. And that's a different type of charisma. So you don't have to have lightning coming out of your fingernails. You know, if you want to be a charismatic person, that, you know, that's a great thing to have. But there are lots of people that have that but don't have the knowledge. And after a while, even that kind of charisma wears thin a bit. But if you have that knowledge, if people look at you and they're saying, what can I learn from this person today? That's a charisma that is everlasting. In this world, you're either growing or you're dying. So get in motion and grow. And that's from football coach Lou Holtz. He was a coach at Arkansas, won a national championship, also at Notre Dame, I believe at Minnesota as well. An outstanding football coach. He's certainly retired now, right? But here's the thing. Once again, let's go back to little kids. Little kids wake up excited about life. They're learning new stuff every day. There's something new to learn. Wow! And then what happens is older people get up and it's like, okay, another day. What's going to happen today? I just want to survive. Get in motion and grow. You know, like I said, I'm in the final stages here, okay? No question about that as far as, you know, percentages. You know, my family lives to be older people. They live into their 90s, so I've still got a few years left. So knowing that, I'm not going to sit back and say, get off of my lawn, what I know is what I know. I'm still out there. I'm still learning. I'm trying to learn the internet. I'm trying to learn technical stuff. Get excited about learning new stuff. You're either in motion and you're growing, or you're dying? Which do you want to be? Now, I've given you 15 different quotes on personal development. That's the why and because. This channel is all about personal development. And it's good to review from time to time what's the why and because it's so important. So take to heart these 15 quotes from some very, very knowledgeable and great people. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.